This is Howie Sandberg for Northeast Hardcore Wrestling. Total Anarchy from the USB Arena, the brand spanking new USB Arena where the New York Islanders play hockey, or allegedly they play hockey, not very well. That was the venue for last night's show, and it was a memorable show that we will not forget for a long, long time. Why is that, you ask? There was a stunning appearance by a certain somebody. Now, I speculated on this very podcast of who this man could be. Who did NEHW sign a multi-year contract to? Or with? Amy Salters, renowned reporter. She really couldn't solve the mystery. All she got was a big name is coming. Well, Amy, that doesn't tell us much now, does it? Well, last night, the most celebrated, the most decorated, the winningest, is that even a word? The winningest winner? Oh boy, Jake Rush is not going to be happy about that one. In IWF history, a former CPW World Heavyweight Champion, a former STW World Heavyweight Champion, I dare say, possibly even a USW World Heavyweight Champion. I will have to check with one John Davis, the IWF historian, on that one, but it would not surprise me. This man was Mr. Clutch. You just knew, with the title on the line, he was going to come up with the goods. In the final segment, the crowd went crazy. The crowd went berserk. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. Did I get the lyrics right? The second line? I don't know. If I am wrong, I do apologize. Lucian Champion, I believe that's how it's pronounced. If it is not, my apologies to Damien. You'd figure after all these years, I would know beyond the shadow of a doubt. Lucian Champion. What a moment. Is this really happening? For anybody that thought Lucian might be rusty in the promo department, he nailed this one and then some. He reflected on his past, but this wasn't just about nostalgia. See, Lucian was also looking forward. And he's got his sights set on somebody in particular, and that somebody is the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in the history of this business at just 21 years old. I'm talking about the three-time and current NEHW World Heavyweight Champion, John E. Legend, and Lucian Champion, he wants a piece. When this match happens, and it's going to happen, wow. And you think about all of the dream matches now that Lucian is here, and the matches and the rivalries from IWF lore. You're talking Lucian versus Freddie Fuller, Lucian versus Legion Cage, arguably Lucian's toughest opponent ever. At least, that's what he said, I believe. I know he believes it. Lucian versus the Silent Assassin Ryu. Wow, what a match that would be. Maybe even Lucian versus Lightning Mountain. Why Lightning Mountain? You say Lightning Mountain. What? Yeah. Lightning Mountain? We'll get there in a minute. What a segment this was. What a great way to end the show and send the fans home happy. Bravo, bravo, bravo. I don't think anyone saw that coming, and a huge boost to NEHW, who in the last, say, 5 months have now lost the likes of Hitman Howie Sandberg and Big Red Vedder on the babyface side. I did speculate that the company needs another top babyface, and boy, oh boy, do they ever have one now in Lucian Champion. The other highly memorable part of the night that is very hard to believe, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about a man who is renowned for having integrity, honesty, dignity. A hero. A hero. Well, he's not a hero anymore. Because the career babyface, Lightning Mountain, is a career babyface no more. No more. And we're going to get to that in just a little bit. If you do read between the lines, however, maybe it's not quite as stunning as you might think. And again, we'll get to that. Let's start with the beginning of the show. Hitman Howie Sandberg would come out to the ring to predominantly loud boos. Hitman would get in the ring and cut a promo, or at least attempt to. Hitman would say, so I guess you Northeast wrestling fans didn't watch Turmoil in Tokyo. You didn't watch me beat Freddie Fuller to a bloody pulp. And fans booed. And they didn't boo because they liked Freddie Fuller. I mean, they booed because their perception is they were let down many times by Howie in this feud. Ultimately, in the end, Howie did get a win in a different country, but nonetheless, a win on a show that had high visibility. Many eyes were on it. A Super Show pay-per-view, but nonetheless, NEHW fans felt perhaps slighted. Hitman would go on a little more, and Brock the Pulverizer's music would hit. The fans would pop huge for Brock. He would get in the ring and say to Hitman, he would say, Howie, I respect all of your accomplishments. And don't shoot the messenger. But James Rodney Richards sent me out here to tell you that this promo time was not allocated for you. And they head to the back. And if you don't head to the back, we're going to have a wrestling match right here, right now. And of course, the fans love that. Hitman, not so much. Slapped Brock across the face. Brock played it cool and shrugged it off. Next thing you know, the bell rings. Big boot from hell. Jackknife powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Hitman Howie Sandberg's last NEHW appearance. A loss in 20 seconds to the 7-footer. What a win for Brock the Pulverizer. Without a doubt, one of the biggest in his entire career, and this should do wonders for him. Just getting the rub from Hitman Howie Sandberg. Sandberg grabbed the mic after the match and said a lot without saying very little, or maybe it was saying, yeah, I think that's it. Saying a lot with saying very little, I should say. 2 words, I quit. Mic drop. Boos from the crowd, and Hitman departs. And perhaps the smarts were already hip to the fact, or just even the casual fans as well, that Howie was California bound. He did make an appearance in California recently in a hot angle with Dangerous Dave Howard and Ramon Armstrong. So with one foot out the door, the boos would rain down from the fans. But anyhow, Hitman out, but coming into the ring through the crowd, the Cartel. Strength in numbers. Unbeknownst to Brock, here come Legion Cage, the Devil's Own, and apparently the newest member of NEHW, the ratings god Lance Rave, who cost Brock the match against Legion Cage at Deviant Behavior. Brock fights valiantly. He fights back against the Devil's Own. He kicks steel chair into Lance Rave's face. But he turns around and boom! Chair shot to the head by Legion Cage. Short ride, bad landing. The next thing you know, it's Cage and Rave taking chairs after a chair was set up in between the head of one Brock the Pulverizer and Concerto. That'll leave a mark. We are hearing rumors that Brock and Legion Cage will go one-on-one once again at the granddaddy of them all, Fantasy Bash. We'll keep an eye out on that one. All right. Second segment. This was fantastic. Chaos Night in-ring promo. Talking about LOR and how he has this history with Lightning Mountain in that IWF faction. And that he knows that while he wasn't very happy about what happened with the accident and deviant behavior, he just knew he wanted to team with Lightning Mountain once again. And he called Lightning Mountain out. And he had some choice words at first because he was riled up, not understanding the recent actions of Lightning Mountain. But in the end, Lightning Mountain did agree to rejoin LOR. Back on the same page, Lightning Mountain and Chaos Knight, or so it seemed. More to love Billy Johnson versus Ronnie Zulunian. Billy Johnson, now crazy over as a babyface. Who would have ever thought we'd see that one happen? The Steak Night Delight, the Lasagna Lover Boy, the Pork Chop Prize Fighter, the Hamburger Heartthrob. There can be only one? Maybe for another day. You will recall Ronnie Zulunian did score a surprising win over Billy Johnson back at Bedlam in Brooklyn when Billy had just a little too much fun shaking his hips and gyrating for too long. I was not on the prize, and Zulunian would sneak up and get a very out-of-the-blue victory. But on this night tonight, Billy Johnson hit him with a really, 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 really big splat. 1, 2, 3. Billy Johnson continues to roll. You know, I think that big dick bastard throwing him through that wall backstage, it's been a catalyst and a turning point in his recent winning streak. He's back on track. He had that rough patch. I mean, he was red hot when he entered NEHW for a long time. Had that rough patch back in the fall, and now back to his winning ways. A bit of revenge. Billy Johnson getting his win back against Ronnie Zulunian. Chaos Knight Jr. versus the Samoan Murder Machine Manu. And anyway you slice this one, a physical mismatch. I mean, Double H had poked fun at Chaos Knight Jr., calling him a string bean, telling him to hit the gym, lift some weights, and get a clue. Manu is just so strong. The native beast, he's called that for a reason. Chaos Knight Jr. seemed to be off in this match, and I'm not talking about from a wrestling standpoint. He did appear to be intoxicated, perhaps drunk, perhaps high. It would be a tall order to beat Manu if he was completely right. In this state, zero chance. And Manu kicked that kid's ass. And breaking news that was reported last night, apparently Mono kicked his ass right out of NEHW because after the show, NEHW released, in Vinnie Mac fashion, released Chaos Knight Jr. So we move on. The Underdogs versus The Religion in a non-title match. You will recall these two teams faced off at Deviant Behavior, and The Religion did emerge victorious, which was a bit of an upset. Despite being champions, incredible champions, at that, the Underdogs, the legendary Underdogs, ironically, really the favorites, which kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but and that was a little bit of a surprise. In this matchup, everything would, when I say everything, the match would deteriorate, dissolve into chaos with outside interference, and it would lead to a double count out. So nothing settled there between those two teams on this night. Will the Underdogs get another shot at The Religion? That remains to be seen. We will next see the Underdogs on the next Total Anarchy when they face the Dirty Dicks. I will never get tired of saying that. The Silent Assassin Ryu versus Captain Breakfast. The Captain fought hard. He put up a good fight. But in the end here, Ryu is a machine. He is just so good. Scored a huge win over Ravishing Rude Runo at Turmoil in Tokyo. And now another win over Captain Breakfast. Some interesting dialogue after the match between Matsumoto and Granny Sunnyside. Matsumoto saying, "Eat me." And something along the lines was said by Granny Sunnyside of, "You did Captain wrong! You did Captain wrong!" Well, either way, Captain came up short, but nothing to be ashamed about whatsoever. And kudos to Captain Breakfast for, at Deviant Behavior, he literally saved the life of Awesome Force, who was dumped in a pool following a DDT on a diving board by Mudshow Outlaw Iggy Crumb. Awesome Force cannot swim. I'll break kayfabe here. Awesome Force told Iggy Crumb before they even went to battle, "I can't swim." So he threw him in the pool. Captain Breakfast would come down. It's not a bird, it's a plane. It's Captain Breakfast. He would come down on a zip line, dive in the pool, bring Awesome Force to the surface, resuscitate him, and save his life. And Awesome Force, very, very grateful for that. Speaking of, just a little bit earlier, there was a promo from Awesome Force talking about Iggy Crumb and talking about that match and thanking Captain Breakfast. And he talked about how he was embarrassed to take part in a match like that. And not because it's hardcore per se, because he loves hardcore wrestling. These NEHW wrestling fans love hardcore wrestling. But what this was at Deviant Behavior, this was something other than hardcore wrestling. This was an underground Fight Club type of deal in which literally the way to win the match was by killing your opponent or attempting to kill him. Attempted murder. Iggy Crumb did wind up in jail. He did wind up in jail. Probably not the first time he's been there, but hey, what was going on in that backyard at Deviant Behavior was appalling. That was a train wreck. And Awesome Force would announce that on the next Total Anarchy, in March. He will face Iggy Crumb in a match that Iggy Crumb should be rather afraid of because it's a wrestling match. Somewhere, Mr. Jim Cornette and James Crabtree are excited to see a wrestling match between Awesome Force and Iggy Crumb because they undoubtedly will be so happy to see Iggy Crumb exposed as nothing more than a Hollywood stuntman, a mark who didn't go to wrestling school. Awesome Force says he was embarrassed to take place in that shit show in the backyard. Well, it very well might be Iggy Crumb embarrassed in a pure wrestling match. Moving right along, we have Double H versus Chaos Knight Sr. in a rematch from Deviant Behavior. Lightning Mountain and Nightshade in the corner of Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight wrestled a great match, and at every turn, whenever Double H tried to cheat, Lightning Mountain was there to stop him. Double H wanted to grab a steel chair. Lightning Mountain stopped that. Double H attempted to grab a steel garbage can, one that he uses in the coast-to-coast move, flying from one top rope to the other side of the ring, on the same side, and baseball slide kicking or crashing into that said steel garbage can, which would then in turn crash right into his opponent. He was unable to gather that garbage can. He was unable to round it up because Lightning Mountain stopped him. Chaos Knight looked like he was in control. Double H had some moments in this match. He hit Chaos Knight with the elevated DDT, paradigm shift, a baseball slide kick. At one point, he was going to hit his finisher, the heartthrob neck drop off the top rope, which would be extra special. Chaos Knight had the wherewithal to hit several elbow strikes that would send Double H down and then hit a beautiful moonsault on him that almost scored the win right there. But it was a little bit later in the match where Double H was on the outside. Chaos Knight Sr. was looking for a tope suicida, so he would gather a head of steam and run towards Double H, try to leap through the middle rope, but then, bam! Struck in the head with the steel garbage can by Lightning Mountain? What in the world? Heartthrob neck drop for good measure. 1, 2, 3. Double H, your winner. Getting his win back from Deviant Behavior. Boos raining down from the crowd. Lightning Mountain, emotionless once again. We want answers. We demand answers. We deserve answers. Chaos Knight and Nightshade deserve answers. Who would have ever thought we'd see the day where Lightning Mountain would head over to the other side? Moving on. Khalil the Lion in action against the Misfit Messiah. And I will tell you folks that if you don't speak up, if you don't show much charisma, if you don't deliver promos, you're probably not going to get much of a push in NEHW, where the strong silent type does not usually work very well. Now we've been heard the Misfit Messiah is quite the athlete and a polished wrestler, so we expected this to be a competitive match against Khalil, but it was not. Khalil dominated this man, completely dominated him. hitting moves such as a spine buster, a sidewalk slam, a missile drop kick off the top rope, eventually finishing him with a curb stomp. The Scorpion was also in his corner for this match. Now, at the end of the match, it's deja vu. Lobo Vasquez running through the crowd in a long trench coat, apparently wanting to flash once again. This guy is a creep. This guy is a pervert. He would jump the barricade, but only this time the Scorpion would tackle him down to the ground. Scorpion death drop. Slides him in the ring, and then Khalil takes care of him. Curb stomp. It's safe to say Lobo Vasquez may want to rethink this whole flashing bit. Peter and Bubba had come out to watch the match. Khalil and Scorpion gave the just bring it signal, hand motions. Peter and Bubba thought best and exited. Boos from the crowd for the cowardly heels. Already announced for next Total Anarchy, it will be the Manhandlers reunited. Peter, Princess Peter, and Bubba the Prison Guard going up against, that's what they say in Canada, going up against Khalil the Lion and the Scorpion. And that about covers the show. If I missed anything, I apologize. I think I hit everything. And again, what a memorable show. Maybe not the best edition of Total Anarchy from maybe a wrestling standpoint, with the exception of, say, Double H versus Chaos Knight. We didn't really get those great in-ring matches. There were a lot of great number of squash matches, but that's okay. It served a purpose. It absolutely served a purpose, and the shocking heel turn and stunning arrival of Lucian Champion more than made up for maybe the wrestling side of things being a lighter than usual. Lighter than we are accustomed to. So it was a great show. It was a memorable show. And I will be back in a few weeks to preview the next Total Anarchy. In the meantime, folks, you can look ahead. King of the Ring is coming in February, an event that Alonzo Jones won last year. Congratulations, Steve Shetler, on that. Sancho got so close. Didn't quite get it done. That's about it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Howie Sandberg for Northeast Hardcore Wrestling.